Hey, this is Dell. Today we're going to build a simple shed. 12 by 16 works out best. We've done a 12 by 12. This one we're going to go with a little bit bigger with a pitched roof. So we've got our materials set up. We just went to Home Depot. We've got we're going to go with 2 by 8s. These are 12 foot long. We're going to cut those to 3 inches off of those. So it'll be exactly 12 feet when we have, these are 2 by 8, 16 feet. And we'll have those on the ends and tie the 2 by 8, 12 footers in between. We're going to put underneath the barn, under the frame, we're going to use these marble chips, and we're going to use these T-blocks, these crosshatch blocks, to set the pressure treated lumber in. All right, so what we've done is we laid out our 4 points, and we're going to try to find the highest point in the dirt, and that's right over where Jake is. And we've dug down these little cinder block things, so the pressure treated lumber is at least an inch above the ground. We're going to dig that out a little bit. And so being level, going all the way over to this one, that board's level, and then we've dug that down, and we brought this one out. We've had to elevate it with this big piece of marble here. So we'll stabilize everything, finish up the 4th, and we'll start putting in the joists. Got it? Nice. All right, so next stage is what we've done is we took the visqueen. Hold on, Jake. We took the visqueen and we put it down just to keep, and put gravel on it. That'll keep any weeds from coming up. And then we took the 12 foot 2 by 8s, and we just came on here and put them in at 16 inches on center. I just marked them out, and then that way this will be center line of a 4 by 8 sheet of plywood. And then we're doing 3 nails in this side, and then Jake will show you how he does this one. The next stage then would be, we finish the visqueen, the gravel, put our foundations in, supports, and then we put the joists in, and now Jake is putting in this plywood. So what I like to do is put down a little bit of this construction glue and put it on the board so you don't get the squeaking. But now Jake is nailing this with a 10 penny nail. We nailed these in with 16 penny nails. We put 3 in each end, and this is just a liquid nail subfloor product. A couple different types you can get. Okay, so we got the decking down, everything's down, and now we're going to start the framing. We've got our materials. We went for another run at Home Depot. We got the 12 foot sheets of siding, 2 by 4s, everything loaded up, plywood in the truck. So what we're going to do now is, since this back wall, this short wall is 12 feet, there's no windows or doors on it. So we're just going to put it together. They're 93-inch studs we got at Home Depot. We laid it out at 16 inches on center, and we marked the top plate the same, and then just putting these 2 by 4s all and Jake's nailing those up, and then we'll stand this wall up, and I'm going to start over there. I'm going to build the back wall here, which is 16 feet, and it also doesn't have any windows or doors. So we're going to go ahead and do these. They're easy. We're going to put those up and get started, and then we'll start working on the front and the other window wall. So we built the 12-foot wall, as we talked about, and then we built the 16-foot wall, and now we're laying out on the decking, we're laying out the wall and marked the dimensions here for the window, and this is a 12-foot wall that's going to go up on that side, and we're about to set that. Then we'll come back and do the door. So what we did, we set this wall and then we braced it temporarily and use screws when you do that, so you can pull them out when you're finished and everything's tied up. Okay, so we got this last 12-foot wall with the window wall up, and now we've framed out the door. It's two 36-inch wide doors. So we've gone, and we're gonna have a window in here that's 18.5 inches wide. So I didn't put the supports underneath it for the little windows because it's 18.5 versus 16 inches on center. So we'll put these doors in. We went with a 79 inches high and put the two 2x6s sandwiched with a little piece of siding in there to make it 3.5 inches. And because the other 3 walls are installed, we had to build it as much as we could on the decking, and then we pulled it off the edge onto the ground and put in the last few pieces. And then we'll stand this wall up. Come in here in the middle, closer to the middle frame. Stand in the middle. There you go, right there. Stand in the window. Right here. So what you're going to do is yours is going to butt up against that, and then it'll be pulling right in, right? So we'll butt it up against yours. 1, 2, 3. You on? Yep. Yeah, I need. Keep going. That's good. Tight? Yep, that's good. Okay, so when you nail it, don't nail in here because this is going to be cut out. Only nail, put, 3 in here and 3 in there. Come over here and nail these.
Hey, you got it?
Yeah, I got it. How are we doing on this end? It's out flush here. Hold on a second before you do that. Hold on. You got it?
Just from laying on the ground.
Okay. Go ahead and put 3 in. How we doing on plumb? Hold on a second. Before I nail this one, that'll solidify everything. Let me have that up. Look at this. Good at that? All right. Up this end.
Hey, Ray! Hey, look, we got the walls up. We're building the barn.
Okay, so we've got the framing up, and now we're going to start building the rafters. And we're going to do an A-frame rafter. And so rather than do the work up on the ladder, I have decided to just kind of build it here. I like to just kind of do it on the ground. So this is the simulated, this is the way it's going to be. So you're going to have the ridge rafter going across, and so we're going to go with 3 foot high. So we made a pattern 3 foot high, and then we're going to use those and take them up top and set the ridge rafter right in that notch. And then we'll have the rafters come off of that, and I'm building that now, and they'll come down and sit on a small bird's mouth. So what I did was cut a pattern. This is the pattern. I marked it as pattern. And so this is going to be up in that groove. It's going to match right up on the on that simulated ridge rafter, and that angle then will work. And at the other end, I cut this called a bird's mouth, and this will sit on the top plate of the wall up there. So then we'll have the A-frame goes up and the other one comes down the other side. I'll show you that in a minute, but I'd rather build it here or do a pattern down here. We're gonna work on this siding, these 12-foot pieces of siding, and we're just gonna put those in. We're gonna go with a 2-inch overhang over the pressure treated lumber, and then you just come up and measure, and they should overlap 1 inch is the way we did it. We've overlapped them 1 inch, and use the little staple gun and go at every stud, just pop them right in.
What's going on?
Okay, so you see here where we put the sample up, and now we went ahead and moved it to the top plate up here, and you could see that we set that in the fork, basically the ridge rafter, that helped us guide it and got it centered appropriately. So then when we did the angles of the rafters and put the little bird's mouth, as we call it, see how it sits on the end of the top plate and hangs out. Now we're gonna cut these straight off, and I could do those with a saw, and then we'll start with the plywood. But it takes basically 2 people to do it, like Jake and Derek are doing now. So you put that up at the peak and nail it the best way you can. And then he'll hand the nail gun to Derek, and he'll do it down at the top plate on the outside edge. So we're moving along, and we're continuing on up with the siding here on all sides. We went up to the bottoms of where the windows go. For now, we want to go ahead and go up a little higher, because we don't want movement in the structure when we start putting our weight up on top with the plywood we're about to go next. But before we do that, I'm putting the end pieces in below the rafters here to continue the studs on up, so we have a place to nail the siding to as we go up. Okay, so we've got our siding up, framing in, knockout boards, and now we're going to go ahead and put in the OSB board.
Grab that, Jake. How's it looking that side?
This is about in the middle. That's
How we looking? Can I nail?
that looks good.
Good.
Okay, so we finished up the putting the plywood on the roof, the 1/2-inch plywood. There's 4x8 sheets. That's a 12-foot wide by those are 10-foot rafters. So we were able to just put in the 4x8 sheet, a second row, and then we were able to cut the one down the middle. It's 24 inches wide, which is a 1/2 a sheet, saving sheets of plywood by keeping it to that size. We went ahead and started the roof this morning, and we just put the the first row of shingles upside down for weatherproofing, and then the second row, and then we put a first row and then a second row on. We leave a 2-inch overhang on the shingles because we're going to put a 3/4 inch piece of 1x material to trim it out. So we'll make sure it's overhanging so that rain drip doesn't get on the wood. We went ahead this morning and went ahead and set that window. Everything was level within that frame. So we set that window this morning that we got on Facebook Marketplace. And then we're going to go ahead now and finish up the siding and go on up as much as we can. And one person can be doing the roofing while the other will be trimming out the windows. Okay, Jake's finished up this half of the roof, and we worked together and got the siding done. Just made our way up. I showed you how to do that. It's just a matter of doing a lot more of it. And then while Jake's doing the roof, I went ahead and took these old antique windows and framed them in based on the framing that I had, and then I just put I put them in, and then I nailed them to the sides, and I took pieces of trim board and trimmed it out. Just put these right over the top of the siding. Okay, some people like to set the trim and then butt the siding to it, but because we did this barn inexpensively, we didn't have any plywood or insulation board behind the siding. So we just went over the top of it. You could either caulk or paint or do nothing with that gap behind the siding. Next, I went ahead and Jake went to Facebook Marketplace and got these metal doors. Got two 36-inch metal doors. They're a couple of ding marks in them, scratches. 2 metal doors for 50 bucks. And so that was well done there. And so I have set these. I put the trim piece in. You can see this white trim. I put it out to this edge here, flush, and then I'll bring another piece of trim over the top of this to flush it out to make it similar to the windows. And then I just set the door, and I put these hinges right in to the 2x4 frame through the trim. And so then we've got our first half of a 36-inch door. I put a temporary stop up here, so when you open it, and then we will, I will go ahead and set this second one now, and then we'll do the ramp and finish up the siding here after Jake finishes the roof. All right, we got our doors finished up. We're gonna have our little entry ramp. We're gonna bring it down to ground level and just dig a little bit in so the garden tractor can just drive up without making a big hop, so you take these down in, maybe set them in a little sackcrete or something to keep them from deteriorating in the dirt. Our roofing is complete. We started putting on our little 1x4 pieces of trim. You just cut them and put them in and nail them. Very simple. And we have decided to just put a fascia board under here at an angle under the rafters. Some people make them straight across. We just did a cheaper route and just went straight up under the rafter. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is put up these pieces of 1x trim. They put the 5 screws in that piece, but all we did was we came in and put like this piece here, and you butt up to it, a butt joint there to the top. We also put in this for this side of the building. It's going to the water's going to come down when it rains, and it will run right underneath the barn. So what we're trying to do is we're going to put this gutter here and put the diverters on, and so the water will come down and we'll bring the downspout down and get it out away from the barn, so it's not underneath and running back underneath what we just built. It's all elevated, but still we don't want anything under there. Jake put went ahead and finished up the ramp, and because the ramp was in, the lawnmower would hit, the blades would hit housing, we had to just slice the bottom of this pressure treated lumber and set it on the gravel. So any moisture gets in, it will flow away from the wood. And then we cut a smaller piece so the wheels will come up and go up the ramp and into the barn. We'll finish this up with a coat of paint. This is a DIY 12 by 16 barn. Make it your own. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.